everyone, Bill Beamer from SEQ Advice. I'd like to introduce you to one of our senior advisors, Rod Lord, who's going to talk to us about what's called the business cycle. Now, the business cycle has been around for a long time. We're in the middle of a part of that cycle now, obviously with what's happening around the world. And to keep things in context once again, Rod's going to talk about what that means and unpack that a little bit. So over to you, Rod.
Thank you. So look, we're going to quickly look at the economic cycle, or economic timeline, I guess as it's sometimes called as well too. Now, I guess our mission at SEQ Advice is to tailor your portfolios to your needs, and unfortunately everyone has a little bit of exposure to these markets, whether you're in drawdown phase or whether you're in accumulation phase. I guess it's just important to see where we are in the market cycle and see what we've got to expect in the future. If we thought that around Christmas time was what we call midnight or the top of the cycle, since then we've seen rising interest rates and falling share prices, which is all part of the cycle. At 3 o'clock, we look at falling commodity prices. Now, this has slightly been offset due to things like the war in Ukraine, where we've got shortages of oil and gas. We've got shortages of wheat and sunflower oil around the world. This is where it's not a perfect circle, I guess. Now, the question that everyone wants to know is, when do we get to 6 o'clock? 6 o'clock, this slide is a very similar slide, but it shows at 6 o'clock that we're at the bottom of the cycle and it's starting to move out the other side. Now, for that to happen, we've got tighter monetary policy and falling overseas revenue. Revenues from companies have still been pretty good. So to say if we're at 6 yet, I guess we won't really know until after the fact. But one thing is important to remember, that this is a normal cycle and these things happen from time to time. What do we know? Well, if we look at the next slide, what we do know is what it's looked like in the past. So this is the Australian share market since 1980. We've got a lot more good years than bad years. We can say there's only been one fall greater than 20% over this time, and that was the GFC, and that was a 40% fall. So if we are having a small fall at the moment, we're unsure where the bottom is, but we'd like to think it's not too far away. The important thing to remember is markets, the average return for the Aussie market since 1900 has been 13.2%. Now, what does that mean for your particular portfolios? Well, if you're in drawdown phase, we have defensive assets in place, and we like to call them shock absorbers, and they're what we are drawing down to fund your pension payments at this point in time to maintain your standard of living. If you're in accumulation phase, it's actually a great time to be buying, because you're buying all these growth assets at low prices. The most important thing we're trying to do is protect your units of your growth assets so you can take full advantage of that recovery when 6 o'clock comes around. If you'd like to know more about this business cycle, please talk to your advisor at SEQ Advice and they can go into more detail for you.